Okay, good afternoon, and it's 5 o'clock now, and we'll begin the January Committee of Adjustment meeting. For everyone's information, we'll generally deal with each application according to the order of agenda. Anyone present who wishes to speak in support or against an application, as well as anyone with questions or concern, will have an opportunity to speak. The committee will make their decision following each application. If anyone on the line or an agent wishes to get a copy of the decision, you can get in touch with our Treasurer, Secretary Treasurer Sherry Mott by email, and she'll make sure that it's forwarded to you. All decisions are automatically sent to the applicant and agent within 15 days of the meeting. In order to be kept advised of possible appeal to the local planning and appeal tribunal, you must request that you be sent a copy of the committee's decision on the application. The decisions are final and there are no appeals 20 days after the committee's decision. May I remind everyone that you're being recorded and to turn on and off your microphones as appropriate. So we'll start with a roll call for the committee. Adam?
Here.
Rudy?
Here.
Marcel?
Yes, here.
Lisa?
Oh, here.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And all the members have received the minutes from the previous meeting, and are there any errors or omissions? If not, I have a resolution before me. Can someone move it and second it?
Rudy moves approval.
Okay, thanks,
I'll
Rudy.
second it. Marcel.
All in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Thank you. And I forgot to ask if any members have any disclosures of pecuniary interests. Could you make them down? None? Our first application to be considered is for a minor variance, and it's application ANPL 2020228. And would the planner give the report, please?
Hello. I would be happy to. So through you, Mr. Chair, and you can hear me okay, right? Just checking.
Yes.
Okay. An application has been received to recognize deficiencies created through severance application BNPL 2020-0054 to permit a setback of 49.6 meters from the residential dwelling to an abattoir. This application is related to a previous application, as stated previously, which was a severance from a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. The application was approved subject to conditions, and one of those conditions was to apply for and receive approval for a variance application to address the separation distance between the dwelling and the existing abattoir. In order to fulfill this condition, the applicant has requested to recognize deficiencies created through this previous severance application and to permit a setback of 49.6 meters from the residential dwelling to the abattoir. The subject lands are approximately 2,202 square meters. That's one in there. An area and have a frontage of approximately 45.5 meters onto the north side of Lakeshore Road in St. Williams in the geographic township of South Walsingham. The subject lands contain an existing dwelling. The surrounding lands to the west contains an existing abattoir, barn, garage, shed, and a dwelling as well. The lands to the east contains a dwelling and accessory buildings. Other lands uses in the area are predominantly agricultural. The subject lands severed through application BNPL 2020-004 are associated only with the residential use. Through the application review process for this particular application, it appears that a portion of the severed residential lot may have included lands that are zoned special industrial, with majority being zoned agricultural. This would need to be confirmed through a property survey, but if this is the case, staff would suggest downzoning the part of the subject land zoned special industrial with a holding to agricultural to reflect the on-ground reality. This is not a requirement of the application, it is just a suggestion for the applicant. The PPS requires creation of lots to comply with minimum distance separation formulae. And however, OMAFRA's MDS document does not require MDS setbacks in relation to abattoirs. This is recognizing existing distances between structures which have been on the site for some time in this instance. So therefore, reduced setbacks seemed appropriate in this case, according to staff, because both the dwelling and the abattoir were existing on the same lot prior to the severance. The proposed application to provide relief for the required setbacks between a dwelling and an abattoir meets the 4 tests for a minor variance in the opinion of staff in the following ways. The application conforms to the general intent and purpose of the official plan, since minimum distance separation formulae as set out by the province does not require MDS setbacks in relation to meat plants, including abattoirs and slaughterhouses. The application conforms to the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, since the province does not require MDS setbacks in relation to abattoirs, and both the dwelling and the abattoir existed on the same lot prior to the severance. The application is appropriate because it does not propose anything new, and as such has minimal adverse impact on the surroundings. The application is minor because it addresses a setback deficiency being created between the existing dwelling and the abattoir due to a severance, which was already supported by the committee. So finally, staff support the application and recommend that it be approved.
Okay, thanks, Nicole. Does the committee have any questions of the planner? Okay, being none, is there an agent or applicant on the line? You can unmute now.
And just to add to that, if you're on your phone, it's *6 to mute and unmute.
Okay, thanks. So it doesn't seem like anyone's on the line that wants to speak. That's fine. Are there any other comments to be made? Can I get a motion from the committee?
I'll move it, Mr. Chairman. Marcel?
Thanks, Marcel. Seconder?
Lisa will second.
Thank you, Lisa. So application ANPL 2020228 in the name of Glenn and Larry Tulpin, in accordance with section 45(1) of the Planning Act of the Development, the requested relief maintains the general intent of the official plan of the planning zoning bylaw and is considered appropriate and minor in nature, and that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All those in favor? Marcel?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Okay. Our next application is file number BNPL 2020-226 in the name of Dave and Brenda Bradshaw. And it is a severance application, and the planner can give the report.
Thank you, Chair. Through you. Let me skip ahead my 1 second here. So this is an application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 66.19 meters or 217.16 feet and a regular width of 28.7 meters and a regular depth of 97.12 meters and having an area of 5,644 square meters, and retain a parcel having an area of 11.58 hectares or 28.61 acres as a severance of a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. The subject lands are approximately 30 acres in area with a depth of approximately 665 meters and a frontage of approximately 204 meters on the south side of Concession 3, Townsend, in the geographic township of Townsend. The lands to be severed are the 5,644 and would also face onto Concession 3, Townsend. The application identifies that the parcel to be severed contains a single detached dwelling and a shed. The existing septic bed is located on the proposed retained lands. However, the application proposes to relocate the septic bed and remove the existing from its current location. The lands are in primarily agricultural area and are surrounded by farms in all directions. All the proposed retained lands are currently vacant, used for farm use. Planning staff consider the subject application to be consistent with the policies of the PPS and conform with the official plan. Staff support the application and recommend that it be approved, subject to the attached conditions, including the following from Development, Engineering, and Building. The receipt of a letter from the building department indicating their requirements to provide a new on-site sewage system for the severed lands, which has been completed to the satisfaction of the building department. A drainage assessment reapportionment at the applicant's expense with the fee indicated in the conditions. And an entrance permit and installation of an entrance will be required for the retained parcel. And that is it for me.
Okay, thanks, Nicole. Does the committee have any questions for the planner? Is there an applicant or an agent on the line that wishes to make any comment? You can unmute now or press *6. No? Is there a motion from the committee, please?
Rudy moves approval, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rudy. Seconded by?
Lisa will second.
Thank you, Lisa. File number BNPL 2020226 in the name of Brenda and David Bradshaw. The subject application is consistent with related policies of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020 and the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding surplus farm dwelling severances, and that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All those in favor? Marcel?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, next up is file number BNPL 2020-226 in the name of Dave and Brenda Bradshaw. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong one. Sorry, ANPL 2020-231 in the name of Blair and Linda Chambers. And this application had originally been moved for deferral, but now we're going to hear it. So would the planner give the report, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. An application has been received to permit the relocation and alteration of the existing footprint of a vacation home requiring relief of Section 3.11.1 of the Norfolk County zoning bylaw to permit the alteration of a structure which does not meet the minimum required lot frontage on an open, constructed, and year-round improved street. 0.4 meters from the minimum building elevation above sea level of 176.5 meters to permit an elevation of 176.1 meters, raising from the existing 175.4 meters. And finally, Section 3.242 of the Norfolk County zoning bylaw to permit 1 meter increase to the existing height of the vacation home of 5 meters. The subject lands are 0.18 acres or 729 square meters in area and have a depth of approximately 59.7 meters and a frontage of approximately 12.2 meters on the east side of Cedar Drive in Turkey Point. The subject lands contain an existing dwelling and an existing garage, which is to be removed. Oh, yeah. and relocated on the same site. And the lands are in the resort area of Long Point and are surrounded by residential uses. The applicant is proposing to raise the vacation home and relocate it further east on the property in an attempt to address issues of flooding and in an attempt to meet the LPRCA's requirements for elevation and to address a 0-meter setback for the vacation home on the west side of the property. Let me just bring photos. At the time of the report submission, staff had not received comments from Long Point Region Conservation Authority. However, comments were received yesterday, and staff are comfortable with moving forward and amending the recommendation with the following information for the committee to make their decision. So in the report before the committee, I noted for Section 2 of the provincial policy statement, and specifically Section 2.1 regarding water quality, that I would require more information. And this is in addition to what I had there. Long Point Region Conservation Authority reviewed the application for consideration with regard to the PPS. In comments received January 19th, 2021, Long Point staff noted that the subject lands are regulated under Ontario Regulation 178.06 and support is provided from Long Point for the proposed development. Permission from their office will be required to complete the proposed work. Staff are satisfied with the application, and that is consistent with Section 2 of the PPS, as the proposed minor variance would not affect any natural heritage, water features, or agricultural uses. I also noted Section 3 required of the provincial policy statement. I required more information in the form of Long Point comments, and so I have this to add. No human hazards were identified on the subject property or in the vicinity. The site was identified to be entirely within the flood hazard of Lake Erie by Long Point. However, comments provided on January 19th by the Long Point Region Conservation Authority indicate that the LPRCA staff are satisfied with the applicant's efforts to raise the cottage to meet the elevation requirements and that no habitable space will be within the entire lower level. The letter indicates that they are satisfied with the proposed development in regard to Section 3.1 of the provincial policy statement, and planning staff concur with the LPRCA staff. With that, is staff's belief that the subject application is consistent with the PPS 2020. In regards to the official plan, I noted I required more information regarding Section 7.6.2. Comments received January 19th, 2021 from Long Point. Staff noted the subject lands are under that Ontario Regulation 178.06 and permission is required prior to any on-site development as defined in the Conservation Authorities Act. Section 7.3.22 speaks to the fluctuating lake levels, and I have the following comments to add. Comments received again on January 19th noted that the subject lands are regulated under the Ontario Regulation 178.06 and permission is required for on-site development. It is the opinion of planning staff that the accessory building should not have any negative impacts on the local natural environment. And Section 7.3.2 would be, 2.2 would be appropriately addressed through the building permit and Long Point Region Conservation Authority permit process. Therefore, the proposed application to permit the above stated deficiencies meets the 4 tests for variance in the following ways. The application conforms to the general intent and purpose of the official plan because it's consistent with the resort residential policies recognizing property constraints. The application conforms to the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw as the increased height and slightly reduced elevation created by raising and the relocation of the structure supports the existing and permitted uses of a vacation home. And the application is appropriate because it supports the existing uses of the vacation home and is intended to mitigate existing issues related to flooding and the structure's current location in relation to the property line. And finally, the application is minor because of the relatively small size of the deficiencies requested. Further, the proposed increase in height, reduction in elevation and location on a private lane supports continued use of the existing use and structure, which is typical in the area. Finally, staff support the application and recommend that it be approved.
Okay, thanks, Nicole. You earned your money on that one. Does the committee have any questions of the planner? And I just want to be clear that she gave a lot of information there, and it's additional to what we have in the report, so. No? Okay, good. Is there an applicant or agent on the line that wishes to comment? No? Okay. Can I get a motion from the committee?
I'll
Move
move it.
approval, Mr. Chairman. Marcel.
Okay, thanks, Marcel. And a seconder?
Adam?
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
So application ANPL 2020-231, in accordance with section 45.1 of the Planning Act, the development and requested relief is considered appropriate development, minor in nature, and maintains the general intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw. All those in favor? Marcel?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have five. Now these next three applications are related, and we do have some correspondence that has come in late, and Nicole will take care of that when she's presenting them. And I believe she's going to do them separately anyway. So it's filed. The first one up is file number BNPL 2020-221 in the name of Dave and Jennifer Vandeveld. And go ahead, Nicole.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yes, as you mentioned, I'm going to talk about them initially kind of in relation to each other, and then address kind of each section by themselves, and we'll go through each to make sure we get the approval or recommendation through for each. So for the final three numbers being 221, the application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 72.41 meters and an area of 2,920 square meters, and retain a parcel having an area of 13.8 hectares to consolidate lands to facilitate a plan of subdivision and a zoning bylaw amendment. So the subject lands are also subject to the two following applications, BNPL 2020-222 and BNPL 2020-223, to sever further lots from the south of the proposed severance subject to this application, as well as a little bit to the east. Sorry, south, all south, and a little to the west, I should say. The subject lands are the 13 hectares in area and vary in depth and width, and have 158 meters of frontage on the south side of Church Street in Delhi, with a significant amount of frontage onto Fertilizer Road. The lands to be severed in this application are 0.292 hectares or 0.72 acres in area, with 72.41 meters of frontage onto Duchess Drive, creating a lot rectangular in shape. The application is a part of a larger application to facilitate plan of subdivision and is accompanied by zoning bylaw ZMPL 2020-199. So as the chair mentioned, there was one comment submitted from the public, and I did receive one inquiry as well regarding this application. So at this time, I'm going to read the letter that was provided to the committee. It wasn't in your packages because it came in after that deadline, but I will read that to you now and then provide a response. To whom it may concern, FS Partners would like to extend their comments regarding the application of 6492-8 Ontario Limited, 36 Paris Road, Paris, Ontario, of agent GH Cahoon Engineering. This application is regarding a property at Wyndham Concession 12, part lot 22, with the roll number and related files BNPL 2020-223 as well as 222. The application has been submitted to sever a parcel of land to facilitate the plan of subdivision. FS Partners operates an agronomy center at the neighboring property. FSP provides agronomic services to farmers in and around the community. This service has been provided to the community from the location since 1952. FSP stores around 15,000 MT of fertilizer, as well as one on-site chemical storage for crop protection products. The business operations start early in the morning and operate late in the evening, sometimes running for 24-hour periods. The operations can result in light, noise, and dust. Due to the requirements of the spring planting and growing season, FSP is hoping for some clarity on how these concerns may be or will be mitigated when moving residential units closer to the operation. FSP would like to express that they object to moving residential units any closer than has already been approved and hope to receive confirmation that the land around the current operation will remain as an agricultural use. Sincerely, Adam Van Passen, the branch manager on behalf of FS Partners. So I have the following response to that on behalf of staff. So we understand that the commenters' concerns are to be related to the potential incompatibility of the proposed use with the existing business. So the application before the committee is to permit the subdivision of land through the consent process. Ultimately, with the 3 applications before you, into 3 new parcels, with a component being retained for continued agricultural use. No changes to use are included in the application process. That's not a part of how we do consents. That being said, there is a change of use proposed with the corresponding zoning bylaw amendment and plan of subdivision. For those processes, issues such as incompatible uses are included in the research and evaluation of these applications, which ultimately go before council. Generally, an applicant is asked to provide a report addressing what are known as D6 guidelines, where sensitive land use is requested near an industrial use which is already existing during the development planning application. For this development in question related to the files before us, a D6 guidelines report has been requested for phase 4 of the subdivision. And I think the applicant/agents are on the line, so they may be able to speak to this process more. But it has been requested for submission. We did note that we did not request a D6 guideline for phase 3, which was further away. Considering the distance from the industrial activities and the subject land, there's more than 300 meters between them, which is the typical guideline. Staff will review the D6 guidelines report for phase 4 as part of the application review, and the applicant will be required to provide justification and mitigation measures for the proposed development. So if there are any concerns regarding the process from the public, I would encourage them to provide comment in relation to those applications. But we do note the concern addressed with the consent as well. So in light of this, planning staff consider the application to still be consistent. Oh, I should add, before I do my final statement, I did have one other correspondence with a member of the public. They're just simply asking more about clarification about the process, but did provide comments which I will be forwarding on to the developer regarding the plan of subdivision process that did arise kind of through the consent. But I will be passing that on, and I can forward those as well to the committee if they're interested. But directly pertains to that other component that's with this. So in light of all this, planning staff consider the subject application to still be consistent with the policies of the PPS and conform to the official plan. Staff support the application and recommend that it be approved, subject to the attached conditions. Additional conditions regarding the overall development of the site will be applied at the draft plan stage of the associated plan of subdivision process. So there will be additional conditions, but that's through a later phase. And I'm happy to take any questions because I know that was probably a lot.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Does the committee have any questions? No? Okay. Is there an agent or an applicant on the line that wishes to make any comment?
Yes, it's Bob Phillips from Cahoon Engineering. The owner of the land and the applicant, I believe, are also on the line. These applications are to consolidate the land into a single land holding to allow for the plan of subdivision to proceed. A D6 report was prepared for the initial phase, which is north of Argyle Street extension, Argyle Ave extension, which you can see on the plan that's on the screen. And it indicated that we were a sufficient distance away, and I think that's why the planner has taken the position they have with respect to these applications. So the lands to the north of Argyle Avenue extension are already designated as residential. The applications that are before the plan of subdivision and the rezoning on those lands just have to do with the form of the development. There are currently already some residential lots in there. The lands to the south are intended to be a mixed-use development, commercial, industrial, and probably a residential component. Those lands require some extensive planning approvals, including official plan amendments, which will come in the future. We received the comment, and obviously through the plan of subdivision applications, those issues will be dealt with. Short of that, we have received the planning staff report on all three applications and are supportive of the conditions and recommendations with those report. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the agent? I have one. It may not apply at this point, but the section of land abutting the FS Partners property, do you foresee that to be residential?
No, directly adjacent. No. I think that was the applicant, but no.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have anything else? Okay, and the applicant is good with the comments they've made so far?
Yes, we're satisfied with the comments.
Okay. Can I get a motion from the committee?
I'll move that, Mr. Chairman. Marcel.
Marcel, thank you, Marcel.
And Lisa will second.
Thank you, Lisa. So the file number for the first application is file number BMPL 2020-221. The subject application is consistent with with related policies of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020 and the Norfolk County Official Plan, and that public input was received and therefore has been considered as part of this application. All those in favor? Marcel?
Yes.
Thank you. Lisa?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
And Adam?
Yes.
Thank you. So we'll proceed with the next application. Is file number BMPL 2020-222. And again, it's the applicant is 1064928 Ontario Limited. Nicole, you want to get anything to add?
Sure, I'll summarize this one because it's largely the same. So this application is to sever a parcel having a frontage of 299.11 meters in an area of 1.692 hectares or 16,920 square meters, and retain a parcel having an area of 13.819 hectares to consolidate lands to facilitate a plan of subdivision and a zoning bylaw amendment. Obviously, this is attached to the previous and upcoming application before you. And for this application, the lands to be severed would have frontage onto the proposed extension of Argyle Avenue, which hopefully you can see on your screen there, with an additional frontage onto Baldwin Street, creating a lot rectangular in shape. That application is a part of a larger application, obviously, to facilitate the plan of subdivision and is accompanied by the zoning bylaw. So planning staff consider the application to be consistent with the policies of the PPS and conform to the official plan. I would note that it is this one there. There you go. I don't know if you can see my mouse or not, but it's the one in the middle. And planning staff consider this support the application and recommend that it be approved, subject to the attached conditions, and additional conditions again would be applied through the draft plan of subdivision phase. And as the agent did note, it is zoned urban residential, this component. I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thanks, Nicole. Does the committee have any questions for the planner? Being none, does the agent or applicant have anything to add?
No, I don't believe so.
Oh, okay, thank you. Can I get a motion from the committee, please?
Rudy moves approval, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Rudy. Seconded by?
Adam.
Thanks, Adam. So file number BNPL 2020-222 in the name of 1064928 Ontario Limited. The subject application is consistent with related policies of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020 and the Norfolk County Official Plan, and that public input was received and therefore has been considered as part of this application. All those in favor? Marcel?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Thank you. Rudy?
Yes.
Thank you. Adam?
Yes.
Myself? Okay, and last up is related application BNPL 2020-223 in the name of 1064928 Ontario Limited. And Nicole, go ahead if you have anything to add.
Yep, again, so much of the same. This proposal is to sever a parcel having a frontage of 299.44 meters in an area of 8.96 hectares or 89,660 square meters, and retain a parcel having an area of 11 hectares to consolidate lands to facilitate a plan of subdivision and a zoning bylaw amendment. This is the bottom one, the largest kind of red box you can see on the screen. So this piece of land would have a significant amount of frontage, would have frontage onto the proposed extension of Argyle Avenue exclusively. And the application is part of the larger plan of subdivision. This component of the lands before you is zoned development instead of the residential. And so that would be subject to the zoning bylaw component as well. With all of that, planning staff considered the subject application to be consistent with the policies of the PPS and conform to the official plan. Staff support the application and recommend that it be approved, subject to the attached conditions. And again, additional conditions would also be applied at the plan of subdivision stage for this application as well.
Okay, thanks, Nicole. Does the committee have any questions for the planner? No? Does the applicant or agent have anything to add? Okay.
No, I think.
Thank you. Can I get a motion from the committee?
I'll move it, Mr. Chairman. Marcel.
Thank you, Marcel. Seconded by?
Lisa will second.
Thanks, Lisa. So file number BNPL 2020-223 in the name of 1064928 Ontario Limited. The subject application is consistent with the related policies of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020 and the Norfolk County Official Plan, and that public input was received and therefore has been considered as part of this application. All those in favor, Marcel?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Rudy?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Myself, thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our meeting today. Can I get, does the committee have any other business? No? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Rudy moves, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rudy. Seconded by?
Adam.
Resolved that this committee is now adjourned to meet again at the next regular session to be held Wednesday, February the 17th, 2021, and we adjourn at 5:40 p.m. All those in favor, Rudy,
Yes.
Marcel,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
thank you very much, and we'll see you next month.
Have a great night.
Can't wait.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Night.
Thank you.